All right, in this next video, I'd like to explain the options for recording which users have filled their prescriptions. So the icon has two different options for recording the users. One is to require the scan of a barcode to identify the user before you begin the fill of the prescription, and the other is to record the user at the end of the prescription instead of pressing the finish key by scanning their barcode. So to configure those selections, I'm going to go into the settings menu, skip my login, and select the login scan out tab. On there you see all the selections related to recording users. So the first one is for edit users. That allows you to add users into your icon. So if you want to predefine users, then this is the menu you'd go to and you press add. At that point you can key in a user ID number. Let's just go ahead and create one here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't have to be any certain length. It can be whatever you need. If you have predefined users or barcodes, you can key in what would be contained in the barcode goes into this user ID menu. The next is the username that translates that number into a person's name. So you can key in whatever you want here. You could key in a first name, a last name, a first and initials, or whatever you prefer for doing your recording. I'm just going to key in a first initial, last name, and press OK. Then you can key in a password. The passwords would only be used for accessing the setup modes. They do not pertain to filling prescriptions. So if I want to allow the person to access the setup modes, I can go ahead and key in a password. I'm going to key in 1122 for this one and hit OK. And then the access level. There are 3 different access levels for the users. One is a simple user, which means you can only access the pill counting modes. It doesn't allow you into the settings menus. The next is the supervisor. It allows you into a majority of the settings menus, but not all of them. And then there's the admin setting, and that allows you to all of the settings available on the icon. And the last choice is this user allowed to train pills? It's a separate selection that defines whether the person who's been added has that ability to train pills and edit drug data. So if I click add users, now that user's in our database and they have the ability to train the pills. If I want to edit that user, I just highlight that one user and hit the edit button and it brings up the same menu and I can adjust the settings for that user. Or if I want to delete the user, if there's multiple users here, select the one I want to delete and press the delete button. It'll ask me if I'm sure I want to delete that user. I'm just going to select no, but if you wanted to get rid of them, you can do that. So that's how you add users in. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit exit to get out of that menu and explain the rest of the choices here. So the way we've set up the icon, we've created 3 different menu choices for each of the 3 main modes of counting. So the first one is the count only menu. So when you're using the count only mode, do you want to have a login associated with the users for that mode? The default choice is off. It doesn't require user recording. The second one is pre-login, which means you would have to log in before you could start counting pills. And the last one is scan out. That means you scan the barcode at the end of the prescription fill instead of pressing finish. That one actually eliminates a keystroke and it guarantees that the person filling the prescription is the one whose name got recorded in case one person starts and happens to walk away and somebody else finishes the prescription. Because it's the one who finished the prescription is the one whose name you would want recorded. So that's the one I would recommend personally if you're going to use the user recording. So then we have the same type of selections for the validation mode and for the inventory mode. So you can select each of those individually, whether you want to not record users, record them at the beginning of the prescription, or record them at the end of the prescription. All right, the next one is user lookup. So if you've predefined users using that edit users menu that we went through a moment ago, then you would use the user lookup on, and that would look in the table to define which users are allowed to record those. The alternative is to not use the user lookup, in which case you don't need to define the users in the edit user menu. You just can have a barcode that contains either a number or a name, but there is no lookup to translate whatever's looked up to something else or whatever is scanned in the barcode. So if you turn the user lookup off, you could have barcodes that actually contain somebody's name and you just scan the barcode and it records it. The only trick there is you have to make the barcodes all the same length. So if you want to have all your users have names, you might have to decide on a 6-character barcode, and you maybe have the first 5 letters of their last name and then their first initial or something along those lines to define each user. You just pick a consistent length and set up all your users that way. Then you don't have to configure the setting menu on the icon to know how to translate that barcode from a user number to a username. So if I did that, I would go down to the next menu here, being the user ID barcode length, specify how many digits are in the barcode. That way when the icon scans a barcode of that length, it knows that it's a user barcode, and it will only allow that length of barcode to be used to record users. So our default is 9, but you can set that to whatever you need it to be. The next parameter is the offset. The offset defaults to 3. That's just tells the icon to skip the first 3 digits of whatever gets scanned and grab the number specified in the next parameter as the actual user information. And then the user ID length of 6 decides how many digits are actually containing what I want to record. So if I had this, I could have the first 3 digits be some facility number, is what I've seen some pharmacies have, and they have a 001 for pharmacy location number 1, and then the user number next. So that's one application for that usage. So once I've set that up, if I've configured it like this, we're going to be looking for a 9-digit long barcode. We're going to, while we're in the count mode, and once that's scanned, we're going to strip off the first 3 characters and grab the next 6 and save those as the user information for that prescription dispensed. That concludes our explanation of the user logging abilities of the icon.